I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land and pay my respect to the elders, both past, present and future, for they hold the memories, the tradition, the culture and hope for Indigenous people. I am a non-Indigenous Australian and live on the Gold Coast, so have had previously little opportunity to engage with Indigenous culture. For this project, I enthusiastically set off on a journey to observe how mainstream cultures and spaces have acknowledged and valued Indigenous peoples, cultures and country where I live. My journey led me to Burleigh Headland at the Gelurgal Aboriginal Cultural Centre. It was here I engaged and observed evidence of how Aboriginal life originated and is governed by the land. Burleigh Headland was once home to the custodial owners of the Gold Coast, who were the Ugamba people. The headland is situated about 8 kilometres from Surfers Paradise and is surrounded by the ocean on one side and the Tullabudgera Creek on the other. Walking the same tracks as the Ugamba people had done thousands of years before, I was mindful of the differences between the natural environment they lived in and the one that I had created. I was saddened to see my environment on the skyline of Surfers Paradise obliterated by overdevelopment in comparison to the pristine environment of the headland. On our tour, Lexi, our guide, tells us about some of the fishing techniques they used on the Tullabudgera River thousands of years before.
Rather than we wouldn't have actually eaten the dolphin, so they helped us quite a lot in our fishing techniques. Along the river, along the sides of the creeks here, so we've got like mud crabs, different sorts of crabs. There probably would have been, yabbies and things like that they would have been able to eat as well. Then along the creek as well, we've got all the different shellfish species, so oysters, mussels.
Now back to my discussion about Indigenous life. History tells us that on these shores of Tullabudgera Creek there was much hunting and gathering of seafood, which would have included corroborees, ceremonies and celebrations. Therefore, it seems fitting that Tullabudgera Creek was given its name by the custodial owners, which means good fish. And as with many names of towns on the Gold Coast, such as Mudgeeraba, Coolangatta and Currumbin, it is pleasing that we have retained their name of origin in respect of their culture. I was fortunate to engage with some Indigenous culture on the tour when we gathered weathered sedimentary rock, which was crushed and mixed with water to make ochre for us to use as body paint on our hands and face. These face paintings were carried out mainly in ceremonies and often used by Indigenous people to tell a story. Other unique Indigenous sites I visited included the Bora Ring in Miami, which is close to the highway in Miami, where there is a circular ring and where many ceremonies took place, and a commemorative rock with Indigenous art has been placed in the park by the Kombumerri Aboriginal Corporation, with the support of the Gold Coast City Council to honour Ugamba men and women who served in defence of our country. This journey broadened my awareness of Indigenous cultures, people and country by discovering these cultural areas. So in reflection, I feel privileged to live in an environment where some land has been preserved to acknowledge Indigenous history, culture and way of life. From a personal viewpoint, I believe that due to intolerances in the past and lack of communication with Indigenous people, we have missed valuable opportunities where we could have learnt more about their people, history, culture and country.